Welcome to this very special edition of The Author's Voice with KAJ, a show where we explore the stories behind the stories. Here we dive into the worlds created by authors, discover their inspirations, and ensure that you walk away enriched and inspired. And today we have with us author Gloria Vanderhorst, PhD. She has more than 50 years of experience helping preschoolers through adults, examine emotional needs, and heal from trauma. She has worked with individuals, families, groups, and schools. And she says, our brains record experiences from the moment we are born. Our storehouse of experiences can be used to help us or harm us. Too
Right.
many times, our early histories jump into the present without our awareness and undermine our interactions with family, friends, and colleagues. And that is where her best selling new book comes in: Read, Reflect, Respond, The 3 R's of Growth and Change. Available on Amazon, and it can help you understand your complex history and heal from early trauma. So let's dive into the story behind the story. Welcome to the show, Gloria.
Thank you, KJ. I'm really excited to be here and to let all of your audience know how powerful our early experiences are and how easily we can really access them and create change in our lives. I don't think anybody ever really tells us how powerful early experiences are, and they jump into the present. We don't even know it. So, recognizing when something from the past jumps into the present is incredibly valuable in terms of growth and change.
Absolutely, absolutely, Gloria. We'll come to this book that we are showing on screen for the audience right now. But first, Gloria, I want to understand for the audience about your journey towards becoming an author. What made you or led to you becoming an author? What is it, that inspired you? Was it just it happened, or you worked towards it?
Well, I think it is an inspiration. But I think it's an accumulation of all of the work that I've done over the years. And what has happened is that suddenly, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I discovered that I needed to communicate to a wider audience, right? All of my work is done one on one or with a couple. I needed everyone to be able to understand the basic principles of how we function and how we heal. It's fabulous to work with an individual or a couple and see them grow and change. But I also knew that if I could communicate to a larger audience, then I could facilitate change all around the world. Yeah, it's thrilling to be able to put this book out there. Anybody can buy it any place in the world. You can order it on Amazon. You could walk into any bookstore, any place in the world, and ask them to order it. They will do it for you. And this book will create change. It's guaranteed to create change in your life. So everybody should have a copy. Put it on your desk, put it on your nightstand, but dive into it. There are 52 essays, so you can do one a week, and there will be another book coming when you finish this one. So growth can be ongoing for everybody.
Absolutely. So to talk about the book itself, Gloria, what does uh, this book say? What is behind the cover? Though this cover looks also very good. Read, reflect, respond. What does the title itself mean? Then we go inside the book, Gloria.
All right, so when you open this book, it will be different from any journal book that you have ever experienced because most journal books have a passage that you read, have questions that you answer, and then they have lines for you to write. I want to show you the inside of this book. All right, there's the passage. The facing page is blank. That has a couple of questions at the top, but the entire page is blank because I know that we store information in ways other than language. We store information in terms of pictures. We store information in terms of actions. So that blank page lets you use words if you want. It also lets you draw, all right, which is a representation of picture. And it also lets you just scribble and move around the page. And you will be struck by how much an essay can lead you into pieces of your history, and you were not aware of having that insight into yourself, but it can come out on the page in ways other than language. And that's the key to this, all right? You read the passage, you think, reflect, and then you respond on the facing page in any way that comes out of you. And you'll be surprised at some of the things that come out of you. And it will lead you into a piece of your history that needs to be explored. That's the function of this book. It leads you into pieces of your history that need to be explored because they're jumping into the present, influencing you in the present, and you don't even know that it's happening. But once you get that connection of here's something in my early childhood that is influencing the way I relate to people now in my life, then you can choose to disconnect those. They don't have to be automatically connected. And that's the value of this book to help you grow.
Absolutely. So you talk about, history to be explored, your own history to be explored. People
Mhm.
generally say, don't get stuck in the past, move on. And people move on. But here you are asking people to go back and,
Right.
so help us understand from that perspective and how you have dealt this in the book itself.
Yeah, I'm not asking them to get stuck in the past. There are people, right, who tend to just get stuck in the past. I'm asking people to take a look at the present and figure out what event from the past is jumping into the present and changing the way that they interact with other people and the way that they feel about themselves. We don't put enough emphasis on how the past jumps into the present and actually hurts us. It harms us. So let me give you an example. All right. Um, I'm working with an adult woman who has an early history in infancy of trauma and rejection. And so that's a fact. That's her life experience. All right. She thinks she's overcome it. But as we work, there's this sense of shyness and holding back, not speaking up in groups, not really introducing herself in a new situation, all of this kind of withdrawal. Well, that withdrawal is associated with her early rejection, but she doesn't know that. But as we work and those two pieces get put together, she now has a choice, and it makes a miraculous difference in her life, right? She is no longer that shy, awkward woman, right? She's now able to unhook the early history from the present and allow herself to be the person she is in the present and speak up and introduce herself and participate in conversation. It just makes a world of difference to understand how the past is reducing who you are in the present.
Absolutely, absolutely, Gloria. So if we look at the book, and a lot of people will say, very educated people who has, gone through difficult times, but now are in very good positions.
Mm-hmm.
And they will say, I have left everything behind. Now, how do I think, or can you convince me that my past will come and infiltrate my present relationships? Because I have overgrown those things and I don't
Correct.
feel anything. I am
Mm-hmm.
the best version of myself. I am so
Mm-hmm.
successful. How would you like to tell them? What have you discussed in the book about this?
Well, I think that that is an accurate statement. All right. People can overcome the past, but there's a process for doing that. You don't do that just automatically by saying, oh, that's over. That's in the past. That doesn't bother me anymore. That doesn't influence me. You have to really examine what's the element of that past injury, that past difficulty, and ask yourself, how is it jumping into the present? Because you can't stop it from jumping into the present until you can actually recognize when, where, how it jumps into the present, and then unhook those two things. All right. Our lives are all connected. Early experiences still influence us until we've had an opportunity to look at them realistically. So I know there are people out there who have done this for themselves, right? They've looked at their early history, they've confronted their past, they've recognized, that was holding me back, that was influencing me, that was changing the way that I interacted with others. And when you've done that insight work, then your life does change. But so many people just believe I could just box it up, set it aside, doesn't bother me, I don't even remember it, but it is held in your brain and it does get triggered by similar kinds of interactions in the present, and it will influence how you function in the present. So it's raising everybody's awareness. You can't just say, I'm done with that. It still has a tail, it has a tag, it has an influence. If you can face the influence and figure out how to integrate it into the present, then the growth is tremendous. It's a wonderful experience to bring that past history into the present and understand it.
Absolutely, Gloria. So who is this book for then?
This book is for, I would say, anybody who can read. This book was designed for adults, people who like to reflect on themselves. There are millions of people who keep a journal and have kept a journal since, adolescence. That's typically when people start journals. But this book is for every adult who has an interest in understanding themselves, and it will lead you into places that will surprise you. It will lead you into places that will comfort you. It will lead you into places that will release you from early experiences jumping into the present. So it's for every adult, whether you've kept a journal as your history or not. This is really an important book for emotional growth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any particular line, a paragraph, or excerpt that you want to share with the readers? Because a lot of people will read it, are reading it, and some will not be able to read it. So at least they will able to know. Okay, these are the important things. At least I've learned from this episode from Gloria.
All right. So, what I would like to share instead is the titles of the different sections of the book,
Absolutely.
because that will give you an idea of kind of where we're going. So, here are the titles. Section 1, Planning Your Life. Section 2, Identifying Obstacles. Section 3, Connecting with Others. Section 4, Working with Others. Section 5, Maintaining Connections. Section 6, Obstacles to Connection. Section 7, Connecting with Family. Section 8, Fostering Physical Well-Being. Section 9, Understanding Change and Growth. And Section 10 is the evaluation section with a bonus essay. So if you just look at those divisions of the book, you'll see that it is designed for emotional growth, for healing, for understanding who you are and how you interact with others.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, let me ask it this way. What was you have written the book. Every time anyone learns about it, they think, okay, it's a good book, and author is a very known person. They are very proficient in what they know. But obviously, there is a lot of hard work while writing this, any particular book. What was the most important, key challenges that you faced during writing this particular book? Any challenges, or it was very easy for you?
Actually, it was very easy for me. In this stage of my life, these essays come quickly and easily. They get stimulated by things I hear, people I interact with, things that I see, even the weather has been a topic. So everything is fair game, and they come to me on a daily basis, just in terms of interacting with the world around me. So clearly, right, I am highly motivated to interact with the larger world, to really help people be able to explore themselves. And I love what I'm doing. I'm in the process of planning one for next year, 52 more essays, so that people can keep challenging themselves to grow.
Absolutely. While researching this book, anything that surprised you about the topic, this particular topic, anything about yourself? Because when you do research, you go much more deep beyond the general day-to-day experiments or research that you do. Help us understand from that point of view, and that is where my question about challenges was.
Right. Well, obviously, as I'm doing this, I am also challenging myself, right? I'm taking a look at my own history, my own interactions. And so it's a double blessing, if you will, that I can benefit others and that anyone, any place in the world can benefit and grow because they've just picked up a simple book, right? And decided, all right, I'll give it a try. I'm not really a journal person, but I'll take a look. Or they are a journal person and they dive into it 100%. But as I do these essays, right, I'm also learning about myself. You can't help it, right? If you're going to influence those around you, you're obviously going to influence yourself. You're going to understand more about yourself, and you're going to challenge yourself to really take a look at what are the roadblocks in my life? How often does that roadblock jump into the present for me? So I've grown as a result of writing these essays and writing this book. And I've found myself to be ready to do the next step, right? So I've put things in black and white. And I'm now with you doing the next step, right? Which is to put it on the screen and really encourage everyone to challenge themselves. And so I want to do more of putting it on the screen and touching the lives of people all around the world. And I'm
Uh,
excited about that. It's like a new beginning.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what do you want? What, in a nutshell, what key insights, message that you want readers of the book to take away with them?
I want everyone to understand that regardless of your age, your history, your current situation, that it is possible to grow. And growth leads to expansion, to health, to new beginnings, that nobody has to be stuck where they are. You are always just on the edge of creating something new for yourself, of growing, of changing, of understanding yourself, of being in a better relationship with the people around you. Change is possible at any age. We're all capable of change. Sometimes we just need a little help, a little boost, a little challenge. And that's what this book is about, right? You're capable of change at any age, at any stage in your life. And all you have to do is read a passage, right? That's all you have to do. Just read a page and let that page inform you and challenge you and help you to grow. It's an easy process. You just have to take the risk.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, this is one book. You were mentioning about another book. If I understand, there is another book in the works. So, tell us about that book and also any other upcoming projects or anything that you are doing you want the world to know about.
Well, I have two books in the works. All right. One of them is a second edition of the Read, Reflect, Respond, so that you have a second year of essays and pages to respond to. But the other one is a book about raising boys. For centuries, we have raised boys to cut off access to the, I would say, the more tender parts of the feeling range. Boys are not supposed to cry. Boys are not supposed to show weakness. Boys are not supposed to use any of the emotions that are on kind of the negative side. They're supposed to be aggressive. They're supposed to be competent. They're supposed to be strong. I have it's the office story. If something breaks, all right, everybody's going to look to the guy to fix it. Nobody's looking to the girl to fix it, all right? You're supposed to be mechanical, supposed to be able to solve problems. But this book is about raising boys in the modern world. We no longer put a spear in your hand and send you out to kill a mastodon. All right? We put intellect in your hand. We put emotional challenges in your hand, but we don't raise boys to be able to be responsive to emotional challenges. That's why our jails are filled with men, not women, because we've never trained our boys to appreciate the full range of emotional expression. That's why our divorce rates are high, because we've never trained boys to experience the full range of emotion. So this book is designed for fathers to help them raise boys that can access the full range of emotional expression. And that's going to be necessary for the future because we're no longer sending men to war. We do war by pushing buttons, not by sending bodies. So this book is critical for the next phase of our lives, that we need to have men who can access the full range of emotional expression.
Absolutely. So when is this book coming out, Gloria? What's the name of the book? If I understand, it's about how not to dash 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 up being
Right.
a father.
Right. Really, how not to blank up being a father. Yes. And you can fill in the blank. And that will be coming out in the fall. So you can look for it on Amazon or in your local bookstore.
Absolutely. There was another book you talked to. You said 2 books.
Well, the other is another edition of the Read, Reflect, Respond. There'll be a second edition of that will come out for the beginning of next year.
Right, right. You mentioned that. Wonderful. There is so much to learn from you about all this, Gloria. And I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of fathers, a lot of other people who want to go back into time or also want to look into their future, also how to be as father and also, to understand the full range of emotions. What is the best way for them to connect with you?
Oh, they could go to my website, which is really easy. I would love to have connection, interaction, encourage people. The website is www.drvanderhorst.com. So it's www.drvanderhorst.com. And that can take you in all different directions. All the essays are posted there. There are videos posted there. So I would love to have people go to the website. And I'm available to work with anybody, any place, anytime.
Wonderful. With this, it's set up on this very special edition of the Author's Voice with KJ. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.